Welcome to the Virginia Citizens Defense League's 18th annual lobby day. Gun owners of all races and creeds from Virginia and across the country are here to stand in solidarity against gun control. I want to thank all of you for coming out on such a cold day.
Well, we won't back down. We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear that these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense. And if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Hello, everybody. Ed Levine coming to you from VCDL, and we've got Philip and Pat. We'll talk about lobby day and legislation and things like that. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we have, we have a lot starting up now. Now that lobby day's over, the fight really begins with the individual bills. And we'll be talking about those, some of the things that are cooking out there. I will say this much again. I said it last time. I was going through the bills that we had that were filed last year at this time. It went on and on and on. There were over 60 gun control bills. I think so far, right now, we might have 9 or 10. Big difference. That's 9 or 10 we need to fight because none of them are good, and we'll go over that. We have 5 pro-gun bills. So we've got about half as many pro-gun bills as they have gun control bills. Last year, the ratio was a lot different. It was a lot more gun control bills, a lot more than double what we had in pro-gun bills. So they had we were having technical problems with our alert system yesterday. They had something happen and I couldn't get in. I wanted to get an alert out early to have everybody calling everybody on that committee that was going to hear the 5 gun control bills yesterday evening. and couldn't get the alert out. So I did something on Twitter, and I think it kind of got spread from there. But sadly, it muted the effect I was hoping for. But that's life. Truth is, the committee that we're dealing with is I mean, it's bad. It's stacked with people that are not real big on liberty and freedom. I got I think like 3 Republicans and I think it's like 6 Democrats or something like that. I don't remember the exact count, but they're vastly outnumbered. The Republicans are, and one of the Republicans voted wrong on one of the bills, so that doesn't help either. But didn't make any difference in the end. So the pro-gun bills that we're watching, like for example, one that is constitutional concealed carry, that bill's not been heard. It was just most of the gun control bills in the House that got heard. Now that could bode badly for the pro-gun bills. It could be that the speaker's going to do it, and what's been done in the past, which is a pocket veto. The bills are there, but they never get heard. They never get voted on. They just, fade away and die. I don't know that that's what's going to happen to them, but we may want to do a campaign on that, basically pushing the General Assembly to make sure that those pro-gun bills all come up for a fair vote. So, so far it's been House bills that have come up. So I would remind everybody, if we can't stop a bill in the House, we still have the option of stopping it in the Senate. Now, it's much better if you can stop it in the House, then you're done with it. When it goes to the Senate, that's sort of your last grasp at trying to stop it. So that's something. Tomorrow, my plan is to get an alert out, getting you guys focused on the bills the 5 bills yesterday that cleared subcommittee are going to committee. So they won't get to the floor till next week. But things are kind of accelerated this year, the way they're handling it. So things can move fairly quickly. And this Friday is when I believe the 5 bills from the public, what is it? Well, they renamed the committee, Public Safety Committee, they call it now. It used to be Militia and Police. The Public Safety Committee will be going to the full committee on Friday and then the floor. Then a bill passed out of committee today that deals with basically making it so you can't carry within 40 feet of a polling place. That came out of a very different committee, one that we normally don't deal with. And
is that to stop all the shootings that happen during voting at our polling places?
Sure. All of this stuff has got something to do with nothing. Yeah, all of it.
Now, since we're putting these out and we need urgent action, I know that we're changing servers and things like that. Can people still sign up for the alert?
Yes, I wish John were here. He told me that on the website that the alert system is now hooked up to when you sign up, you don't go to the old MailChimp. It is? Okay. Somebody else said today.
So you can sign up through the same method that you used to use when we were on MailChimp. Go to VA Alert and hit the sign up. I want to take a quick second here to do 2 things. One, Christina said that she thought we were supposed to be able to attend these committees. Yes, we are supposed to be able to attend these committees. And it used to be when the hearings were happening, you could just show up. And if you wanted to speak when they said anybody for this bill, get in line right now, and everybody got a chance to speak. And then anybody against this bill, get in line and you got a chance to speak. You didn't have to sign up ahead of time. With the virtual meetings, if you don't have access to the internet, you don't have access to the legislation or the committee. B, if you don't know about that meeting until an hour before it's supposed to happen, or if they dump a bill in there unexpectedly, which they did last year, you have no opportunity to speak on it. So it's severely hindering people's ability to participate in the legislative process. But the other thing I wanted to do was just real quick run down what the process is for a bill to become law. The bill is introduced. It is assigned to either a subcommittee or a committee. If it goes to the subcommittee can make changes to it or whatever. They vote to pass it through or they vote to kill it. and then it would go to a committee, the same thing would happen, and then it would go to the floor. And on the floor, it has to be voted on 3 times before it passes. Then it goes over to the other chamber. So if it started in the Senate, it would then go over to the House on crossover day. If it starts in the House, it would then go over to the Senate on crossover day, and it goes through the exact same process. If it passes both and there's no changes, then it goes to the governor. If the other chamber makes changes to it, then they have to resolve those changes before it goes to the governor for a signature. Once it gets to the governor can either sign it or veto it or do nothing. If he signs it, it would become law. If he vetoes it, it goes back for another vote to see if they can override the veto. He can also change it, in which case it would go back for a vote to see if they accept his changes. Or if he does nothing, it becomes law without his approval. And that's the process in a nutshell.
Yeah, and it's just going to be an accelerated process for the General Assembly, how things going through committee and everything are handled. So, yeah, and I think people were asking, well, how do we attend these committee meetings? Well, in the next alert tomorrow, I'll give you an idea on that. I may not yet have the link, but as soon as we get it, if we don't have it, I'll let you know. But if nothing else, you can watch, and you can also sign up to speak. I know as a speaker, you can call in if you don't want to come in on a computer. I'm not sure about just listening. That might work, Pat. They might let you use a cell phone to listen. But if you want to speak, you got to sign up ahead of time. And as Pat said, they can play games with that. And we know they would never do that. They don't play games. Yeah. So.
Well, yesterday morning's hearing, I think they gave us 2-3 hours notice. And the cutoff to sign up to speak is like an hour or 2 hours ahead of the meeting. So it was a really small window to sign up to speak.
Yeah. So, but we'll, now that we can, the lobby day really absorbed so much of the entire board's focus, pulling that together the way we did. If we end up doing the same thing next year, something similar, we'll have a lot longer to prepare, and it won't be such a high pressure thing at the end. And one of the things I did note was when I was talking to the press, and by the way, pausing there for a second on talking to the press, if you go to the VCDL website, vcdl.org, you'll see some just a teaser of photos, some news stories. That just 3 news stories. There were lots and lots of news stories, but three of the ones you might find interesting because they had a lot of photos. Some of them had video of interviews and stuff. Got a photo of one of the buses, some of the cars decorated, part of the Caravan. All of that is up there. So you might want to take a look. I mean, the way they were shutting down streets and everything in Richmond, it really chopped up the Caravan. So somebody standing on a corner trying to figure out how big the Caravan was, you really couldn't do it. And we've got some inquiries going to the Richmond police about a few things like that. Why why all these streets were cut up and the Caravans couldn't even go down Broad Street at one point. I mean, they knew we were coming. It's not like we surprised them. And
there wouldn't have been a traffic jam if they hadn't closed the streets.
Yeah. Leave the streets open so people can move about and there won't be a traffic jam.
And shout out to VCDL member and gun attorney Gilbert, because he saw one of the buses stopped and he jumped right out and says, "Hey, I'm an attorney and you're not boarding this bus. You're not asking any questions. And what do you need?" And so thank you, Gilbert.
Yeah, and the bus was, the story we've got, and I'm waiting for, I've got my contact at the Richmond PD trying to give me some answers here, but what we were told by the bus was they were stopped because they were creating a lot of a disturbance of some sort by, I guess, the bus, all the cars and everything. But it was Pat that pointed out, if you stop the bus, now you've got all the cars that were following the bus stopped. So now you, Richmond PD, have created a real problem, a real traffic jam.
Because you don't see a bright orange bus very often going down Richmond with Guns Save Lives. So that is very disturbing if you're trying to go to work and you're looking over at this big orange bus.
I don't know. We sometimes these things, they change a little bit when time goes on and you get all the facts in. So we're checking, but there was some very odd activity on that last bus, which is really unfortunate. That bus in particular have people that some of them that came from great distances compared to some of the other buses. That's the bus that would have caravans from out as far out as well Winchester and all the way down to what's the other end of that Wytheville and beyond Bristol, all the way. It started in Bristol. Now the turnout in Bristol was less than stellar, and I think that the problem there might have been, again, it was such a long trip that a lot of people couldn't make it. Unfortunately, the gun laws will reach all the way out to Bristol if we get any bad ones. So
that's where John's from, our VCDL board member and attorney. And I always go, Bristow's not that far. And he goes, it's not Bristow, Ed. Add 3 hours, 4 hours, and then it's Bristol.
Yeah,
I go to Bristol all the time on my bike. It's no big deal.
You go a long way for that one extra letter.
Speaking of the route, I know we're going to cover a lot of stuff tonight, but speaking of the routes and the trackers and whatever, it was a lot of programming for Carlin Talkington, who took our GPSs, programmed so you could track the buses, working back and forth with the vendors so we could update them. We had a backup vendor, Go Track Easy, that if something didn't work right, I mean, it was just a lot to do. We could also probably, since Lobby Day's over, we can probably tell people that we had Freedom 1 up in the air. Yeah. VCDL's helicopter capturing the buses and the log jams and everything from the air. So we're going to have pictures and video from there. So thanks to VCDL member Mike Poff, who was not only on board and taking pictures, he was directing another guy with a FLIR camera on the bottom of the helicopter to try and get us some really high definition shots from the air. We've got a lot coming that's in the future to capture and tell you about this event. And we got more things to come. And I got some more things on my list, but since Phil kind of brought up that talking and the tracking and whatever, I just want to throw that in.
Yeah, the teaser on the helicopters on the website as well. So if you go up there, you can see the photo that Ed was referring to with the helicopter. Yeah, some of you saw a helicopter. There were several helicopters buzzing around. One of them was ours.
Yeah, so, and there was also a VCDL member that hired a aerial photography service to take photographs. So watch for a lot of exciting images and things coming up.
It'll be a little while. I know I've got all kinds of stuff that came in, some great write-ups about what happened. We've got a lot of photos, got some video from some of the buses inside. I think a lot of the press didn't realize that they were by no means at any one spot seeing all of the caravan. I mean, it was, some people talked, it was really impressive. One report of 10 miles long coming, that was the last one coming out of Stanton, that kind of got turned around. It didn't get to do very much of Richmond at all because the police kind of turned it around. That's the one bus that we're really looking at very carefully to see what exactly happened and why it was stopped and why people were required to turn around. So we're investigating. We're not going to let that slide. We need some answers on that.
Chris, you said there were 6 miles of cars. Some of them had up to 10 miles. So with 4 buses, a helicopter, and all the people behind them, there were thousands of cars in Richmond on Lobby Day. The other thing I was going to say is that we had the social media committee kind of, when we started talking about this, it was almost a joke. We're like, I wonder who's going to dress up their vehicle the best, and we ought to give them a prize. And then other people started donating prizes. So we have a handful of prizes to give to the best dressed vehicle. So the social media committee is going to get together and look at those. If you have not sent a picture in, you can go to dropevent.com/VCDL photos and put the best photo of your vehicle, upload them there, and that's where we're going to view them from, because people on the street took pictures, people sent up in their own pictures, but this is where we're going to view them from to make the decision. So that's dropevent.com/VCDL photos. Please send us like 1, 2, 3, 4 photos of your car, your vehicle. Don't send us your whole 300 everything that you took that day. If you have other photos like that, we'll figure out a way that you can get them to us for posting on the website and stuff. But that's kind of just for the best dressed vehicle.
Yeah, if you happen to have an eye-popping photo, that you think is really, really exceptional, yeah, you can send that directly to me. I'm keeping a folder of things, of the photos and videos that are being sent in. But yeah, there was like one video, I guess early on from the I think it was the Northern Virginia Caravan, and it was like 3 minutes of cars passing. Yeah, on the express.
I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, that was one. Well, no, the one I saw was 3, but I don't think it stayed to the end. I don't know what came after that, but it was just, the bus, and then car after car after car after car. And then sometimes in 2 or 3 lanes. Sometimes they were spread in different lanes. So
And the tractor trailer, right? We had a guy that was like very emotional about bringing his tractor trailer. And what's funny is I put that on the Facebook page, and I was just like, back from the old song, I'm like, we got ourselves a convoy. And what was funny is all the comments were people were putting quotes from the song further down as if they were singing it in text.
Yeah, there we go. I see. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Chris, Chris Summer said 6 miles in his convoy. Which convoy were you in, Chris?
So we had a comment from somebody wanting to know when we were coming to Stanton again. Sadly, with COVID, there are no places that will host a meeting with the restrictions, since there's like a 10-person group limit and things like that. So we won't be having in-person meetings until after the COVID restrictions are lifted, because there are no places that will host them. But we will be having in-person meetings again once all of that is done, and we will continue the online meetings for the people that can't get to the in-person meetings. So this has become a valuable resource, and we know you guys enjoy it, and it's recorded so that other people can watch it later or listen to it in their vehicle while they're driving. So,
Chris, I see you say you were going from Winchester to Stanton. Was the 6 miles your group as they were arriving in Stanton from Winchester, or was that once you had blended into the Stanton Caravan? Where was the 6 miles on that? I know that people were. I got some really great emails from people how watching, seeing all their fellow gun owners with all the decked out cars and trucks and all the patriotism and everything. They just said it made their chest swell with pride. Boy, I understood exactly what they meant. And then those that were driving along said, yeah, we were passing all these exits, and all these cars were blending in. It was something to see that caravan keep growing. I really wish I could have been in one of those caravans. There's so much I missed last year. But unfortunately for me, I have to deal with the press. That's the day I have to do that. So unfortunately, I'm missing some of our best events, and it's driving me crazy.
How many interviews did you do that day?
I'm sorry?
How many interviews did you do lobby day?
Quite a few. I don't know. I wasn't counting, but it was just one after the other after the other. And at some point, I finally broke free, and I went to see the first bus coming in. I stood at the corner of 9th and Broad and started waving as the first bus went by, and the cars that preceded it and after it, everybody was waving and honking. And at that moment, the press
realized
like
you got tackled. Like 50 reporters circled you, and you couldn't wave anymore.
The press realized who I was, and then suddenly, boom, that was it. I was surrounded, and microphones and questions, and I tried to wave every now and then, but that was it for me. I really couldn't do much. But you'll see some of the interviews. In fact, if you go to the links that were posted on the main page of some of the news stories, there's video of interviews in there. And if you'll notice, several of the interviews by different stations had me, you could see I was standing on a corner with vehicles going by, honking and everything. That was that one corner. It was just microphones everywhere. So I don't know I have no idea how many questions and different news agencies were there. But then I was starving. I hadn't eaten anything. So we went back towards the hotel. And before I could cross the barrier that was set up between the hotel and a bunch of press, surrounded again. So I did a quick little thing to try to go eat. I'm diabetic, so I can only put it off so long. But it was fine. That's my job. That's one of the things I do. But it's sad because I really wish I could. So look, I live vicariously through you guys. When you send the videos and the photos, that helps me, be there, even though I wasn't always there to see some of the great things you guys did.
Yeah. So those of you that think you want to be famous, be careful what you ask for. I can tell you, even going through the General Assembly and lobbying, we can't go 20 feet without somebody stopping Philip and asking him a question or wanting to shake his hand or something. So we can go from an office on one end of the hallway to an office at the other end of the hallway, and it takes about an hour to get there.
They want to shake Philip's hand, but me, they want to punch because I banned them for doing something wrong on Facebook or something. In fact, Joanna was kind of joking around with me because every year I go to SHOT Show right after Lobby Day, which is kind of like my relaxing and vacation. That's why I have this fake background that looks like I'm in Vegas. But my non-refundable flights and hotels and everything, I thought, I'm going to go anyway. So, but yeah, I get all the, you're for the Second Amendment, but you won't let me say, let's go tar and feather the governor. And, yeah, so you get the handshakes. I get the waves with one finger.
Yeah, everybody is nice. Even at a gun show, it's hard to see the gun show, but I don't mind. Everybody is so nice. I know a lot of people by sight and by name and everything. It's everybody's great. I have no complaints.
Yeah, Jill McDaniel says that's because you're the real governor of Virginia.
Yeah.
And Clayton Vegg makes a good point. We all had to deal with with Bruce Jackson in a suit.
Yeah.
So he's wearing a suit, and people thought he was in charge, and he was just ordering everybody around, and that was just tough to deal with.
I don't think people were used to seeing Bruce in a suit.
All right, that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
it's funny.
He cleaned up.
No, Bruce,
cleaned up pretty good.
And speaking that kicks up another thing. Speaking of things, you would think Bruce lives in a UPS FedEx warehouse because you open his door and there's pallets of flags and gun save live stuff. And if there's stuff that you didn't get that you want for nostalgia, like you were part of this event, wait a few days, check out VCDL.org where our store is, and you can still pick up some of the stuff that he's going to have on the store. And he said he's going to be adding to the store the really cool stuff or the really sought after stuff. And that not only does that support us, it doesn't support us financially that much because we don't make very much money off the things in the store. But if you're driving around with a Gun Save Lives magnet on the back of your truck, someone, when you get to your destination, might ask you what it's about. It's just another reason to talk about the organization with somebody.
Hey, it doesn't hurt to also go up there and get that stuff for next year. We got lots of flags still, including the big one. We got some of the big ones, not lots of those, 3x5 foot jobs, but we have a lot of the ones you put on your car. And pick them up now. If you didn't get any, pick up a set for next year, because I have a feeling we're at least going to be. I don't know exactly what we're going to do next year, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably involve a caravan in one form or another, whether we maybe have a different destination or whether we just do a caravan. It may be different next year. We're looking at options. We got time, and we'll be working on it. This is again the big event every year for us. So, but it wouldn't hurt to have the flags. You can put them on, take them off at will, and they look pretty cool on the car. And it was wonderful that so many people did that, because again, that was kind of my vision, was watching these cars go by. You really want to know that they're all together. It's not, you don't have a bunch of people that have got nothing to do with this stuck in the middle of a caravan. And sure enough, every car that went by had some kind of a flag or something that really made it obvious. And that's what you really want to see.
Yep. So back to the legislation. We do have a contact your legislator form on the website, and there will be some alerts going out where there will be a pre-written message, and we'll send you the link so that you can contact committees and things about specific bills that are coming up. Now that we're past Lobby Day, we're working the kinks out and getting all of that stuff back up and running from the fiasco with MailChimp. We do have a provider that has stepped in. We're getting used to that new system. It takes a couple of days to get all that nailed down. So I think, Philip, you got that pretty much worked out now. The legislative tracker should be up on the website very shortly. John was working on that today. he has to do this also between court cases. He's a very busy lawyer defending people's gun rights in court. So bear with him as he gets the legislative tracker up, but he said it should be up in the next day or two.
I'm hoping some of the social media bans and muting, some of my moderators have been muted and banned and cut off from Facebook. So keep in mind, we have a presence on all the big locations, whether it's Gab, MeWe, USA Life. We have our own members only chat area in the website. If you sign in to the VCDL.org and up at the top right corner, you sign in. We have our own members only forum. But if you want to know where all these are, you can go to tiny.cc/VCDL social media. And there's a page that shows you all the IDs and names to follow Philip's Twitter. We're shutting down. We had 2 Instagrams that we were running. We're shutting down one of our Instagrams. And Matt Gottschalk's going to run the official Instagram for us. So there's a lot of ways to get the information. But like Joanna said earlier under the admin ID, the best way to follow us initially and the official communication from VCDL is the VA alert. And once that goes out, then we disseminate it amongst our other social media platforms. And quite frankly, a lot of people are telling me to dump Facebook, but we have 70,000 followers. And when we post something, there's people that don't follow us that still see it. So one post might hit 250, 260,000 people. And it's just not worth it to not have those eyeballs look at it. But we do post other places in case Facebook were to ever kick us off. But this way, you've already started following us somewhere else as well.
Right. And we'll exploit Facebook as long as we can because we do have that exposure. And we're trying to funnel people over to the other more friendly social media sites. But frankly, some people are just a little resistant. You go with what you know, so to speak. So, we'll work it till we get kicked off of here and we cross post on all the other sites.
I see in the comments, that Rich Bonham is saying that, the Richmond TV stations actually gave pretty much favorable reports. And I agree with that. So did the Times Dispatch paper. I thought they had some great photographs and video stuff. They really covered it extremely well.
Yeah. Unlike Reuters that posted at 6 o'clock in the morning that less than 50 people showed up for lobby day. I laughed at that one.
They must have had a crystal ball. And again, Reuters and some of that, these are supposed to be people that do investigation. This was never meant to be have flooding downtown with people. This was a caravan. So yes, there weren't many people downtown. That was the whole point of the caravan, to keep things moving and get people through. And I did get a lot of comments too that people really liked the caravan because it allowed them, some people that maybe couldn't walk that far, enjoyed being very much a part of the whole thing. I just think the camaraderie was probably great, just being a part of that big caravan, seeing all these cars in front of you, all these patriots honking their horns, and everybody I know everybody had a good time. I mean, it's just amazing.
I had this guy from Germany message me. He said he wished he could be there. He sent this whole paragraph of text, and I had to copy and paste it and put it in Google Translate to figure out what he's wanting. And he's like, I really wish I could be there. I wish I was part of it, blah, blah, blah. Is there any possible way you guys would allow me from Germany to join and become a member? So I typed out his full answer, told him about, how we appreciate him and what the lobby day was all about and what we're all about, put it back in Google Translate, put it back in German, and then gave it back to him. He was thrilled that we even answered him and that he says he's going to join.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we get stuff from around the world. I was interviewed by Denmark, France, and where else?
Ukraine.
Right, Ukraine.
Yeah. I think there was Japanese media. I'm not sure about that, but there were several from European countries and so forth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was a lot of again, like last year, a lot of interest worldwide. That's kind of, little old Virginia here getting a lot of national attention. Right.
2 French agencies, I believe.
Yeah. And Belgium was another. Yeah, Belgium was one of them as well.
Yeah, Pat Murphy, yes, the buses were awesome. They were they really looked sharp. And I want to give a shout out to Paul Conti, the person that works for the bus company, and he handled all of that for us, helped us get them wrapped. And if you notice, we even had gun saves lives and our logo on the top of the bus, so that the
Why
aerial
ever would you do
photographs.
that?
So that when the helicopter flew over, there was no doubt what that Caravan was about. So I thought that was fabulous.
That's one of Joanna's pet peeves is she saw a couple cars go by with VCDL, Gadsden flag, and go Trump. And she's like, this isn't a Trump train. This is a VCDL Caravan. I'm going to go talk to that guy. And I'm like,
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's Tess Aylshire, one of our executive members, pointed out that even if somebody didn't make it to Lobby Day, when you have those caravans coming from the four corners of the state and driving down hundreds of miles of interstate, there are thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of people in cars that see those messages and see those caravans behind there. So we're not just affecting Richmond and the legislature. There are people all over the state that were asking questions about that, and the exposure is absolutely priceless.
Yeah,
there's a picture of Fleet One.
A lot of our members talked about the fact that the other thing that was so great was, again, driving down the expressway and all the people honking and giving thumbs up as they passed.
Mhm.
That went on the whole trip. Construction workers, for everybody, even the police waving. It was something to be in that. I just know it, and I've been seeing so many great emails on that. I was looking at some of the comments here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And obviously thanks to when we were set up in Lobby Day, we had like a social media room. Andrea Porter was helping us. Brendan Mooney had his team. They're talking with the ham radios to back up the GPS of where the buses are and where street closures were. There was 50 people involved administratively to get the buses going, to get the captains on the buses, the people that are captaining, the people that carried the GPSs and then are sending them back. There's like 50 people that were just trying to make it happen in the info center. And they're just, it's thankless because, they all did a great job and they did it as volunteers.
And each bus had two captains, a captain and backup or co-captain. And they were in communication with our nerve center that was tracking the buses. We have the team that programmed the trackers and got them out and set up the program where you guys could watch the bus's progress going down the highway. We had Tess and Layla who were coordinating people that were riding on the bus and fielding questions, dealing with the bus company on getting the wraps done, all sorts of things. People came to me and to Philip and stuff on the day of Lobby Day, and they were like, wow, you guys, I don't know how you put all this together. And my answer is always, we couldn't do this without the exceptional team of VCDL members, normal people just like you guys that step up and volunteer and say, I want to help. What can I do? So,
it's funny, the first picture of a bus that we got that wasn't from us taking our own picture or from our provider, but the first picture we got of someone driving down the road, you see they're driving and they held the camera out and took the picture out the window. And that was as it's coming down from New Jersey. And that picture came from Jared, who runs Guns and Gadgets. And he's like, I couldn't believe it. It was just so excited to see and send it to us. We put that out right away.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah, he did. He's one of the speakers that we had for Lobby Day. And he was coming down to meet me for dinner that very night. And he just happened to be passing through New Jersey, heading to Virginia at the moment that he saw one of the buses that said "Gun saves lives 2.5 million times a year." What a massive coincidence that he took that picture, and a few hours later we're sitting together having dinner. We didn't know where the picture came from, and it was Jared. I mean, it was just amazing. By the way, as I told the press, there's a certain amount of karma going on too with the governor. I'm looking back on everything. If the governor hadn't played games and he had we had gotten the permit to be at the bell tower and had everything lined up to be at the bell tower, and again, assuming that they weren't playing games with COVID, and we were looking to be at the bell tower and have our rally, he would have canceled us 3 days out, and we would have had no way to ever pull together anything like the Caravan or anything else. We would have been completely shut out this year if he had canceled us 3 days out from Lobby Day. But because he was playing games a few months ago, that's what brought up the idea of a Caravan, and had just a very short amount of time to organize something like that. But we did, and we had that time, ironically, because the governor was trying to lock us out, and he actually saved Lobby Day for us by accident. And he killed the equivalent day for all of the gun control groups who all lost their permits. So they had nothing, and we had Lobby Day.
And
Thank you, Governor Northam.
I greatly attribute the turnout last year to Governor Northam as well. All of the stunts that he pulled last year just made everybody so mad that we had thousands and thousands of people coming from all over the country to attend Lobby Day.
20,000 according to estimates, Pat, from the local police.
Yeah, that's that new math or something.
Pat, maybe what we need to do is give an award to the governor, the VCDL promoter of the year, something like that.
What they don't know is we also had drones and aerial pictures, and we did how many people per capita per space across how many blocks, and our real turnout for Lobby Day was between 50 and 70,000.
Actually, some of the helicopter pilots reported they thought it was more like 100,000, but
that's the thing. It wasn't just a few people in the street. Literally, people were saying they couldn't move hardly. They were just shoulder to shoulder from one wall to the other, all the way across the street, across the sidewalks, and packed up in front and behind them. So it was like sardines. And yet nobody felt claustrophobic. Everybody felt comfortable and had a good time.
Yeah. So, I wonder, Philip, if we could get one of the senators or something to actually give that award to Northam on the floor of the Senate or on the House floor. So two years in a row, by the way. So, yeah.
He's really knocking the ball out of the park.
And we do need to mention too, Delegate Glenn Davis actually gave us an introduction and thank you on the House floor. So that was pretty cool.
I want to see the faces of half of the House of Delegates members when he did that. Yeah. I know normally the procedure is before they had this COVID, you would be in the House floor, and there's a balcony up above, and a delegate would rise and say, "I would like to make an introduction to the House." Up in the balcony, we have Joe Schmo, who is a constituent, and blah blah blah, and please give him a warm welcome of the House. And all of them stand and applaud. As you don't say anything back; you just stand up there and wave or thank you or whatever. But when they did us, the Madam Speaker just sort of whizzed right on. I mean, she didn't really wait around for any kind of applause to come virtually from anybody. It was like, all right, on to next business.
Yep.
Yeah.
There he is with his iPad presenting.
Yeah, he's holding up. Yeah, that's Glenn Davis holding up his phone, which has got us on FaceTime on the other end, sitting in the command center, being introduced to the House. And I'm glad the Speaker wasn't eating because she didn't know that was coming. I'm glad she wasn't eating and would have choked or something.
She may have anyway.
She might have.
Wow.
Anyway, we do have a couple of good bills coming this year. There's the constitutional carry, which we will get introduced every year until it passes, by the way. There's also a bill that says that if the government, either state or local government, makes a gun-free zone, then they're liable for anything bad that happens to you in that gun-free zone. So that's another good one that's been introduced.
If you picked up your flags and your stickers and things like that, and you didn't get a chance to hit the web and donate to pay for them, because we did them on the honor system, or if you just have extra money burning a hole in your pocket and you want to throw some money our way to keep up the fight, please go to vcdl.org/donate and throw a couple bucks our way.
I see David Cooper is thanking the ham radio operators. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They really did a wonderful, I knew they would. I mean, I'm a ham myself, although I haven't been very active at all. But from my days of being active, I can tell you these are some really community-oriented people. And with a lot of technology. They love technology, and that's another reason I think they like guns. It's gadget people. And they did a great job tracking the sub caravans, communicating with each other, communicating with us. It was all really well done. And meanwhile, the ARRL, the Amateur Radio Relay League, put out a notice that, well, to be careful on this because, if there's any kind of crime being committed, then, you as a ham operator wouldn't want to be, contributing to that there are certain laws and all that. I couldn't believe my eyes. But then again, I think they're in Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's the answer there. But it was like, what? Clearly, I had no idea who they were dealing with about our group. So it all went off well. The ham operators did their part, and just because they wanted to help.
You can't trust the government to censor anything because, like, people were talking maybe about Terry McAuliffe possibly becoming governor. And I said, before you vote for Terry McAuliffe, at least watch this little 20-minute internet video that's Fast Terry, Terry, fastterry.com. And Instagram sent me you can't post anything pornographic on the site. And I'm like, and then I went and looked at the website to make sure that it didn't expire and someone grabbed it to use it for something else. But no, it's still the same video that shows how he kind of screwed things over.
They probably thought Fast Terry was an implication about something there that might have been pornographic.
Or maybe
when I had throat cancer, and I created a website called Ed's Throat, and people all the time were like, that sounds really interesting, Ed's Throat. I'm like, nothing fun. It was throat cancer.
Maybe they thought it was Easy Terry. I don't know. Somehow the pornography got in there.
Yep. You reminded me of another thing. We need to give a huge shout out to Matt Gottschalk, one of our executive members. He put together all the videos for the speakers. He'll be editing video from the event. He sent a photographer down to Richmond, a cameraman down to Richmond, and I'm sure he's editing that. I think the helicopter video went to him as well. So he put together the montage that you saw at the intro of this, I believe, that went with the song that was written for us. And we need to give a shout out to the fight song also. But Matt does this every year for Lobby Day and does not charge VCDL for doing it. Even though, that's how he makes a living. He doesn't charge us. He volunteers his time and expertise. So he deserves a huge shout out for that.
Yeah.
And this year, his assistant or friend or coworker associate, Gary, was down there capturing the video this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Matt, Matt's a professional, and it shows in his work. A very, very creative individual.
Yep.
And so I went to his house, and I recorded the intros to a lot of the speakers there. I didn't do all of them because some came in after I was done. But it's quite a nice setup there.
Yep.
If you did not get a chance to listen to the speakers that we're all talking about, you can cut and paste the URL that I just put in the chat right below where it says speakers. There's a pretty long URL, and that will take you to the first speaker, the second speaker, and then you just let it play. And if you want to, you don't have to actually watch it. If you don't, you can listen to it on your way to work or way home from work and just listen to the different people that had something to say about us.
Right.
Hey, I see Pat Murphy was noted about Jared and Coda Boy 32's ride video through the Caravan. If you have a link to that, Pat, would you send it to me? president@vcdl.org. I'd like to. I haven't had. I finally cleared out literally, I kid you not, 1,000 emails that came in on the 18th and a little bit on the 19th. So I've flushed through pretty much all of that. That's why I was a little late getting the alert out tonight. I had trying to get caught up in what important things might be out there, but I haven't had a chance to really look around the web a lot for stuff like that. Yeah, if you could forward that to me, a link, that would be great. I'd like to see what Jared and Coda Boy had.
Right. The other thing Matt Gottschalk did was a couple of videos that are anti-carry, and it was a series of interviews of people that were just normal, everyday people that carry for self-defense. And it's a promotional video that shows that people that have concealed handgun permits or even open carry, but do it on a regular basis, they're just normal everyday people, just like the people that have never considered the fact that they might need a gun for self-defense. Matt also put together the video talking about the racist roots of gun control and did an excellent job on that. I went to him with an idea. I said, hey, we need to do something like this. And he took that and ran with it. And boy, I was absolutely floored with the results of that. And as a matter of fact, Gun Owners of America has picked it up as well and put one of their spokespeople on there, Antonia Okafor. Mm-hmm. And we want people to share that all over the country because we want people to know that gun control is racist.
Yeah, and we don't put this stuff out for our own glory and you make people pay to use it. We're trying to win a war, and everybody that's an ally, take what you need from us and run with it on your own. We got to do this across the country. So we're happy. And by the way, Antonia Okafor was one of our speakers last year at the 2020 rally.
Now the video anti-carry that Pat's talking about, I just put a link for it up in the chat, so you cut and paste that. That one's on Vimeo, and you can paste and watch that as well.
Yeah,
so I'm looking to see if anybody else has any more questions.
Yeah, and I know the link to the speakers was a really long one because of the playlist, but you can just go to the VCDL channel on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search VCDL, you'll see a logo in the top, and then one of the headers says playlists, and it's the only playlist there. You click start watching, and it will just roll through all the speakers all at once.
I think the link is still on our front page under the Lobby Day section also, isn't it, Philip?
I kept it, it should be there. I kept it there. I redid the Lobby Day thing because now all the old stuff doesn't need to be up there. So instead, I put that link so people could watch this after the fact, as well as the podcast version for those that might be driving and want to listen to it while they're going to and from work, because it's a couple hours worth of speakers and some very, very motivational and some very funny speakers as well.
So
Jill McDaniel put MITB, Matt is the bomb.
Well, VCDL is gun rights in Virginia. Our sister gun rights, as Philip mentioned earlier, is Gun Owners of America. With a brand new administration coming in nationally, I also urge you to follow Gun Owners of America so that you can respond to their alerts for things that happen at the federal level.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we have to give a huge shout out to GOA because they have been lockstep with us this past year, fighting all of the bad bills that passed, all of the legal challenges that we filed to date. They have been right there helping us with the expenses and with the brain trust, and they stand up for your rights as much as we do. So they deserve your support as well.
In fact, when Jared came down after taking the picture of the bus and had dinner with Philip and I, Eric Pratt from Gun Owners was right there in the mix to see what he could do to help us out.
And he was in the command center on Lobby Day as well.
I see Junior Vaught was saying, yeah, he waited around for in Christiansburg for the Caravan. Yeah, from we couldn't put buses. I mean, the cost of those decked out buses was eye popping. You know, you could, that's a lot of money went into each one of those. It's serious money. So we couldn't have buses like that for all the sub caravans. It's just that we just couldn't afford it. So there was no bus coming from out in Bristol down through Christiansburg and all the way down to Roanoke and so forth. Maybe next year we'll rethink that for that one route because it is so remote. I don't know. We'll think about what we can do out there. But I'm glad that you ultimately, and this is one of the things I had put out, was if the Caravan doesn't show up at 10 minutes, if they're 10 minutes late, just go ahead and get on the expressway and start heading in anyhow, which is what you did. And that's what we wanted people to do, because there was always a chance that a Caravan could be delayed. There could be an accident, or maybe in some of their more remote areas of Virginia, maybe out in the Northern Neck or Middle Peninsula, it might be that the first Caravan was like one person or something, for all we knew. So you did the right thing. Thanks for doing that. And again, everybody remember, it's our first time at doing a Caravan. Believe me, we're trying to learn from this. And if we have to do one again next year, we will definitely have learned some lessons on how to do this. But I think right out of the box, we did pretty good considering there was zero experience. Now we have one of these under our belt.
Sure. Hey, Pat, someone messaged me a question, and they're asking about the Amazon Smile and the 501c. Can you explain that part?
Okay, so Amazon Smile is only for charities. VCDL is a nonprofit, but we're not a charity. And there's different tax designations. 501c3 is a charitable organization. You can, if you donate to a 501c3, you can write it off on your taxes. VCDL is a 501c4 nonprofit, and donations made to us are not tax deductible. And Amazon Smile does not donate to 501c4s. However, we are working on a 501c3 organization that will be a subsidiary of VCDL. And when we get that done, we will let you know, and you can change your Amazon Smile over to that. But for now, personally, mine goes to Gun Owners Foundation, which is GOA's 501c3. So that is an option if you want to have your Amazon money, anti-gun Amazon, donating to a pro-gun organization. I think that's just poetic justice.
Yes.
Thank you. And you answered that much more clearly than I would have been able to.
I see Philip Rodakanakis. Oh boy, I'm gonna slaughter his last name. Rodakanakis. I know I murdered that. Sorry about that. He had commented about the bus coming out of Northern Virginia going way too fast. And yeah, we got that report apparently. And I saw somebody else comment a little further down saying that there was carnage of flags. David Taitano said that there was carnage of flags, VCDL flags all over I-95 because of that. We who would have thought? I mean, that definitely wasn't in my planning sheet that we'd have to tell a bus to slow down, for crying out loud. But apparently he was going a little fast. But we were in communication with all the buses. So as soon as we found out what people were telling us, we immediately called the bus and talked to our bus captain, who relayed to the driver to slow down. Then he dropped down to 50 miles an hour to let everybody catch up. Totally. I mean, of all the things to go wrong, that was like last on my list. But sure enough, it happened. Right. And sorry about the flags. I know I've been driving around with mine, and I've gotten up to 70 miles an hour with it, and didn't have any problems. Sometimes it would kind of ride up a little bit, but it never ripped off or even came close. So I don't know. We did have two different manufacturers, so maybe one of the manufacturers didn't hold up as well. Their flag didn't hold up as well. I don't really know, but
some of the GPSs they weren't reporting accurately, but people were sending me note going, do you know one of your buses is going 126 miles an hour? I'm like, no, it's not.
No.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Obviously, if you're in a 50 mile an hour speed limit zone, and then you don't catch the bus as it goes right by, and they're 3 miles ahead of you, you're going to go 75 or whatever speed to catch up. And it seems like the bus is going that fast, but the bus is staying constant. So people were saying, I'm going 70 to catch up with the bus. It's like,
yes, of course.
Yeah. And
And
so
the
next
bus-
year, we may ask the bus drivers to go just slightly under the speed limit so that A, people can fall in behind them, and B, it doesn't tear the flags up so bad. But you also have to remember you don't want to go too slow on the interstate and cause traffic problems. So
and I'll say that I think the bus drivers too were trying to be diligent to arrive at their appointed time. And I think,
Right.
if I'm mistaken, they all arrived pretty much on their appointed time. I think that
right.
Northern Virginia rolled in at noon, and Hampton rolled in at 1, and whatever it was from the south rolled in at 2 and 3 from.
Yep.
So they did a good job of coming in on time. And I'll tell you what, I cannot imagine driving a vehicle that big and maneuvering through those streets, especially with Richmond shutting down this street, shutting down that street. I don't know how they do it. I mean, it's just
what
amazing.
about the guy that had to leave New Jersey in the wrapped bus, come down here, then go out to western part of Virginia, drive back to Lobby Day, and then drive back to New Jersey for home? So whoever that guy is.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he had to drive back to the western part of Virginia and drop his passengers off first and then drive home.
Right.
Yeah. So, the bus drivers did an awesome job. The bus company did an awesome job. Just, everything came together just like clockwork. And we are very fortunate with that.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I really couldn't complain. And the most important thing of all of this, nobody was hurt. There was no violence of any sort. We got a lot of news coverage. We were definitely noticed by the General Assembly. They absolutely noticed us. And Glenn helped with that too by introducing us on the floor of the House.
But if we're going to do this next year and we're going to wrap buses and maybe even more buses, we might just go ahead and start a bus fund now and start accumulating the money, because those buses are not inexpensive to do that with.
To give you a hint, we had to book them for 3 days, even though we're only using them for 1, because it took 1 day to wrap the bus. And you've seen the buses. If you haven't, go look on the website on the front page. I got a bus right there.
But as far as raising awareness goes, I don't think you could get a better platform for raising awareness. So, there was some skepticism on whether it was worth it to wrap the buses, but once we had them wrapped and they were seen and rolling down the highway and everything, all that skepticism went out the window, because it just makes an absolutely fabulous impression.
It's a huge rolling billboard. I mean, it really is. And again, the response was honking horns and thumbs up and people waving and that's what you want, because you're doing PR from one end of the state to the other. That was part of the idea. That was sort of one other reason that sounded like a really great idea to have a caravan, was just that fact that we with so many people up and down. We went those buses were on the major corridors of Virginia, 95 and 64 in all directions. Yeah, there's the bus from the air. Our helicopter took that picture.
Yep.
What's up?
Glenn Davis. He's a delegate from Virginia Beach. Pat Murphy was asking who's the assemblyman's name who introduced us on the floor and welcomed us to Virginia for Lobby Day, to Richmond for Lobby Day. So, Pat, yes, you can absolutely write Glenn Davis and thank him for doing that.
Okay, so Joanna just came to me, and because people are messaging her about the photos. If you have a photo of your decked out vehicle that you want us to look at for the best dressed vehicle prizes, there's a link right there where to upload them. If you have a spectacular video of something, the press surrounding Philip or the bus rolling through and people waving, if you have a spectacular Philip picture like that, send that picture to president@vcdl.org and he'll put those on the website. So there's 2 places to put the picture. In fact, even if you don't have a photo to upload to the events, dropevent.com/VCDL photos, you can still go there and peruse and look at the other photos that were taken. I see I forgot the .com on there, so let me just put that on there. It's dropevent.com/VCDL photos. But even if you don't have a that's where they're going to put their pictures of their best dressed car. But if they've just got a really cool photo, they're going to send that to Philip.
David Titano pointing out that they got as much or more notice on the way to Richmond than they did in Richmond. Of course, with COVID and everything, the streets weren't all that busy with people, and the fact that we weren't going there. Somebody also asked about maybe maybe next year. Getting the bell tower. And again, this is something that I pointed out that they're looking at changing the rules to where we probably won't do the bell tower next year, and we won't be able to do it until we have a decent governor, because they can shut us down at any time if we book the bell tower. They can pull that application for a variety of reasons, and it would be just like them to pull it right at the last minute and say, sorry, you can't do it. Boom.
So Philip, you had it at 11 o'clock, and Delegate Smith decides he's got a couple constituents down and he wants to use it.
Yes. We say we'll have 1,000 people and 1,001 show up, and they say, oh, that's one over that's not what you booked this for. Boom, canceled, microphone pulled over.
We don't know him.
Yep.
So,
and we're looking at other options too that will accommodate more people. It's a limited space at the bell tower. You can't block the sidewalks. They're talking about banning guns in Capitol Square and all of that. So we're looking for other options where we may be able to, once the COVID restrictions are lifted, we may be able to have some sort of a get together where we can have more than 1 hour's worth of speakers, where we can have more than 1,000 people assembling, where just stay tuned. We're working on a lot of different options, but
we're certainly open to ideas. But
Great idea, David. On Lobby Day, they'll wake up and get ready for their anti-gun speeches, and the bell tower will be wrapped full blaze orange.
We don't want to have an event where you're not armed. That's so that's all working. It's another advantage of what we did was that by doing the rolling rally, we didn't have to deal with Richmond's thing. But if you notice, they did not make an issue out of the people that were standing around trying to make some bogus claim that they could now ban guns. They didn't do that. The Richmond police did not do that. And they got flack for that on their website. Man, they were hammered. Oh, why did you let all these people carry these guns openly and not enforce the Richmond ordinance? Blah, 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 blah. They really got pounded over it.
Yep. Somebody at one of our previous meetings had said, why don't we drop Gun Saves Lives flyers out of a helicopter or an airplane over Richmond? And that would have been fabulous to drop them on Capitol Square if the moms demanding mommies had a rally there. But we don't want to litter. We want to be good neighbors. But
why don't moms demand action get banned for being sexually promiscuous?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's gender bias when it's just the moms demanding action.
Yeah. What about men?
Yeah. Men have rights too.
That's right. So, and I think one of the spokesmen, was he the head of the moms demand? It was a guy.
Mm.
It was odd. I guess they couldn't get enough women to be part. I mean, it's all bogus. It's all the whole moms demand action thing is all astroturf.
Yep.
Joanna said if you have pictures of leadership, send them to the leaderships. Just send them to Philip at VCDL.org.
No point in pounding the whole leadership with it. What I'm going to do is I've got a folder set up. I'm going to put your photos in there. And just like I did last year, once Lobby Day, once the General Assembly's over, then I'll have more time to fool with this. And I'm going to try to put together hopefully some eye-popping stuff again. We'll have videos and pictures and links to news articles and all that stuff like we did. It won't be probably a 6-part series, but it might be a 2-part or a 3-part series. There's, again, a lot of stuff coming in. And I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I just had a thought. So instead of dropping pamphlets on Richmond or on a Moms Demand Action rally or something like that, which would be littering and wouldn't be neighborly, there's a Fredericksburg gun show coming up this coming weekend. And by the way, they are looking for volunteers to man the table. But if you go to the Fredericksburg gun show, go by the VCDL booth and get one of the little Gun Saves Life stickers still on the backing, and mail it to the Demanding Mommies headquarters. And just imagine if they got 2,000 or 3,000 of those in the mail. That would be tons of fun for somebody to sit there and open the mail with all of those stickers, I think.
But on the front, on the envelope, put caution, donation inside.
Yeah. After all, each sticker is probably worth 0.0001 cent, you know.
Right.
Yeah, something like that.
We could always ask Derek. He wants to know the exact amount of the stickers.
Say again?
VCDL bouncer calls from helicopter. I was just looking at some of the comments. I try not to laugh, but every now and then people put stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
so I think we should start a movement there. You could also send them to all the anti-gun senators and delegates, mail them to their office. You know, I mean, what's a 50-cent stamp to get your message across, right?
Well, I remember I sent a postcard to Morrissey when he stood on the floor with an AR. It was actually a stolen AR that he brought into the assembly with his finger on the thumb. And as he's whipping it around to talk about it, you see people ducking and weaving. You know, he's like, "This is very dangerous." We're like, "We agree. That is very dangerous." I sent him a postcard telling him that wasn't a very good idea. He never answered. Well,
No, I don't have the Mad Mommy's address, but I'm sure they're online.
So we're an hour and 15 in. Do we want to wrap up and talk about I guess the next big thing that we're going to watch for is alerts with action items and the legislative agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be the focus tomorrow. I'll be putting that together. So that'll come out sometime, hopefully late morning. And then you guys can begin to, because we need to move. We need to go ahead. Once you get it, we need you to move on it. Ideally, this year, if you can, don't just send the email, but also pick up your phone and call. And we'll try to get a link to where you can get the number for your particular senator or delegate. Give them a physical call and leave a message. If we light up their phone lines big time, that will also get their attention. You know, we're in a difficult position. We're fighting our way through it, and we need to use every tool we can to get our point across. And so phone calls, please put that on your list of things to do as well. It's all worth it. It's all part of what we need to do to make sure that the General Assembly knows what we want.
Make sure that all of your friends are subscribed to the VA Alert, because there's going to be a lot of important information coming out hot and fast in the next few weeks. So that's where you're going to get it first, is on the VA Alert. So get all of your friends to sign up.
If it's during a committee, go ahead and follow Philip's Twitter if you're a tweeter bird out there. So, because when he's in the committee, he'll give you little blurbs that I then put out on the other social media. But that way, you're getting it while he's in the committee, and he can say, "Call this guy," or "Call now," or whatever, and it happens fast.
I see somebody suggested, John Litton, about VCDL postcards, and 42 Chilled agreed with that. That's been done in the past, but it can be a little tricky because we don't have a lot of time this session. It's moving so fast that you really can't do postcards. Where those are really handy was things with the state level, where we could, at gun shows, hand out thousands of postcards, which we used to do, and people could then sign them and send them to the governor or lieutenant governor, whoever, with a statewide office on some issue that was more of a long-term issue. But some of the stuff moves too quickly to be able to mail postcards to people, have them fill them out and mail them back to the delegate or senator. So, but there will be opportunities to do that. And it is a very effective thing when you can do it. and we probably should be doing more of it. Well, the good news is November 2nd is elections. So again, all of you need you to take this seriously. Get involved and get people psyched up to get to the polls and vote on November 2nd, because that's our chance to turn this around. If we don't turn it around November 2nd, if we don't get out and do this, and the anti-gun Democrat leadership gets in again, it's really not going to look good in 2022, and they really feel empowered 2 years away from the next election. So let's do this. This is how we're going to turn it around. So please be involved.
Tremaine, what's Philip's Twitter handle is VCDL_org. So VCDL_org is Philip's direct Twitter.
And Ed, where can they find all of our social media links?
Great question. Tiny.cc, I'll put it up right now. Tiny.cc / VCDL social media.
And that has the Twitter handle and all of the other social media links on there.
Well, I would say yes, except you'll probably find one that I missed, but yes, it does.
And Gregory Bradford's right. We do need to vote in every local election too. Remember, now that we have the threat of local gun control, suddenly your vote for Board of Supervisors, City Council, or Town Council is important. Now
Yes.
you cannot let that slip, because those people could turn right around and rip your rights away there locally. And don't think they won't if you don't get the right people in there.
Yeah, and talk to your friends and neighbors and take turns monitoring all of the meetings, the school board meetings, the Board of Supervisors or City Council meetings, all of that stuff. Watch their agendas and go down and address. There's always citizen time at the local government meetings, and you can go down there and ask them to pass a no gun control resolution. Talk to your supervisors or your city councilman. They should know you by name, by the way. They should recognize you walking down the street. If they don't, then you're not being involved enough.
And if you can't go down there and talk to them, make sure you sign up to do the virtual thing so that when they call on you, you can say your piece virtually.
Yes.
Phil Stanley, there's a lot of Phillips out there today. Phil Stanley was saying that need to get more hunters involved. We've talked about this before. Yes, we do. In fact, we're going to be supporting some hunter stuff that deals with firearms, this year and in the future. But yes, we need to get them involved. The trouble with a lot of hunters is they're not involved, and we need to wake them up, because that's a powerful block of people. And
there's a lot of gunners all that are not involved at all anyway, that are just like, I'm going to let someone else fight this fight for me.
Yeah, it's not American to let somebody else carry your water. That's what's always driven me crazy. I mean, I was always raised, you carry your own water. Don't you expect somebody else to carry it for you? And that definitely holds with this. Everybody needs to carry their own weight.
It's like I tell people all the time, freedom is not a concept, it's an action. You have to act free. You have to participate in freedom. If you don't, you will lose it. It's like anything else. If you don't exercise it, you will lose it.
Now,
the antis are certainly working hard to take it away from you, so we need to counter that.
Yep.
John Pickney was pointing out he's got Delegate Plum and Senator Howell. I know, my condolences, but we still
Plum won the award for being the most anti-gun, didn't he?
Yeah, and we need to flood all of them, especially them. They need to hear from you guys in their district. Don't be quiet. Otherwise, they've got an echo chamber that never indicates that there's a bunch of other people that are voters in their district that don't agree with that. If they get enough calls, that'll give them pause. And keep in mind that the Democrats got a free run in like 30 or 40 districts last time because the Republicans didn't put anybody up against them. Therefore, they really didn't care what people said. That's apparently not the plans of the Republicans this time around. They're going to try to have somebody running in all these districts. That will change the equation. These elected officials act very different when they have to protect their seat than when they don't. I've seen it in action many times. So keep the pressure up on all of these guys, good or bad. Keep the pressure up.
At 42 chilled, you're exactly right. Fishing, boaters, outdoorsmen people. Because here's the thing. Let's say you have 100 people or percentage, however you want to look at it. It's about 50-50. Half the people are anti-gun. Then our side, you've got the hunters, you've got the tactical beardsmen, you got the target people, you've got the relics and collectors, and then you got the self-defensers. These 5 groups never agree on anything. Whether you can carry with a magazine, whether you can open carry, whether it's concealed carry, whether you carry 45 or 9mm. All of that group has to work together against the other group.
You have to set aside the differences.
What's that?
They need to set aside their differences. It's not our differences that are going to help us. It's going to be unifying for the purposes of protecting the right overall for all of us. Because once they take it from one of us, they'll come for everybody eventually. So we stand together or we will hang separately. And we need to set all that aside. We're all Americans. We're all brothers and sisters. Let's stand together and act like it and fight a common fight here.
Jill McDaniel, you rock. She just posted every town's mailing address on there.
And
no matter what you ask an audience like ours, you're going to have an expert or somebody that's got the answer right there on the spot. I asked for ham radio operators. I don't know how many we got. What did we get? 80 of them that responded that they could help with lobby day, something like that. It just came flooding in. All of the
so
stuff.
the redness on the top of my hand is actually going away because Tess slaps me pretty hard when I talk about Democrats and Republicans as far as gun owners. There are plenty of members and plenty of Democrats that own guns and want gun rights. They just have different views on other policies and things like that. We are single issue. Gun owners or not. We're pro-gun and anti-gun. I have changed my vocabulary to talk about pro-gun and anti, and I'm trying to get away from the D's and the R's. So that's why the hand slaps are going away, because I'm correctly, according to Tess, saying it. So Democrats out there with guns, we want you too. And you sometimes have 2, 3, 4 times the impact when you talk to your lawmakers than we do, because they're like, oh, you're on one of my side. We all agree. And you're like, we all agree on everything except for what you're doing to my gun rights.
Yes, absolutely. And I try to talk about Democrat leadership because that's where the gun control push is from, the leadership. It's not every Democrat out there, but that's why we don't say it that exactly. Why we don't say it that way.
And we have libertarians and independents and all sorts of people out there. There's not just 2 parties. There's people, and people have different opinions about things. But what we need to do is bring people together under the umbrella of gun owner. And
we all look the same under our skin.
That's it. I posted something on my personal Facebook page not too long ago that said that, we all have differences and we should embrace those differences and be glad that, boy, would the world be a boring place if we were all exactly the same.
Boy, you're probably going to get banned for that, Pat.
We need to embrace the differences and find the common ground, because we are all one race, and that's human. And so as gun owners, we need to share that unity message and let people know that we're not a bunch of stodgy old white guys that are racist and so forth. We're African Americans, we're Native Americans, we're Orientals, we're all races. We're all human race, but we're all people that are concerned with preserving our safety and our freedom. And we can work together under that umbrella.
It's a civil right.
It is.
Everybody should agree on a civil right. Who shouldn't be agreeing with free speech? Who shouldn't be agreeing with the right to protect yourself? Who shouldn't be agreeing with the right that the police just can't search your home anytime they feel like it at 2 a.m. because, let's just search Pat Webb's house to see what we find. We should all agree on that. And
it is funny that a lot of people wanted to defund the police, and yet they wanted a whole bunch of police there for lobby day.
Right. And they want only the guns to have the police to have guns. So, which one is it? Should we defund the police, or should we make them the only ones that have guns?
It's a crazy world. It's upside down. Everybody I talked to, my neighbor today, he and I chatted, same conversation I've had with everybody else. Everybody is seeing the world upside down. But we need to keep a steady hand on the wheel of the ship and keep moving and not get sidetracked with a million different things right now. There's a lot of scary stuff out there. I'm not looking forward to the next 4 years, but it is what it is, and we will move forward with a steady hand, hopefully.
We certainly don't wish problems because we're all on the plane and he's the pilot right now. So you don't want him to fail.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
right.
I appreciate everybody hanging in there tonight. I was hoping we could, that we'd have a good chance, as we did, to talk to you about Lobby Day. I think it was a success. It was certainly was fun, and we got our message across. Now we'll continue the fight. Tomorrow you'll get that alert. Be on the lookout. We'll roll up our sleeves and begin fighting this and hold it off as much as we can. November 2nd is our chance to turn the ship around. And this time next year, if we do our part and we all get out and vote, hopefully we'll be coming into a very different situation here in Virginia. And then maybe we can get some work done, and we'll start by getting rid of some of the stuff that's been passed over the last few years. Get that out of there and then start getting our rights restored to where they should be.
Take off work now for Martin Luther King Day. No matter what we're going to do, make sure you're off work so that you can attend or do whatever we do on Martin Luther King Day. Pat?
Y'all have a good night. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for your support and for everything you do, because VCDL operates from volunteers like you. So get your friends and neighbors signed up for the VA alert. Be ready to send messages to the General Assembly, make phone calls, sign up to testify in committee hearings, and watch your local governments.